There's been a lot of assessments. That's what happens with continuous assessment. But I hope that you've been gaining a lot of skills and knowledge from the course, because you had to interact with your material yourself. It's unlike previous years where, you just get the assessment and then you get the exam, and basically, I feel that you don't interact with your material enough. Now you were forced to interact with your material, and I hope it has been beneficial to you. And you'll see that there's a lot to do with communication. It's just not general knowledge, right? You have to actually interact with everything that you're doing and with all your study materials as well. There's 2 students that are not just getting admitted into the chat. I don't know why. Okay. Assessment 7, a lot of you have been sending me emails and saying, do we have to do assessment 7? And you're waiting for assessment 6 results. So let me give you some feedback on all of that. Assessment 4 results were all out. You know that. Assessment 5 results, we have sent out about 90% of the scripts. There's a small delay with the last batch that we're busy marking. You know that life happens, people get sick and things happen. So we were a bit delayed with that. There's just the last 10% of scripts left, and we're hoping to send that out by the weekend. And we've started marking assessment 6 already. But assessment 6, since we just started with the marking, remember the portal just closed this week. I think it was on Tuesday that the portal closed. Or was it on Monday? I can't remember when the portal closed. So we've just started marking the assessment 6s. You can only receive results by the end of the month. And that is a bit too late for you to decide if you should do assessment 7 or not. So I encourage all students to complete assessment 7. So what happens with assessment 7, although it's optional, what we do is that between assessment 6 and assessment 7, we look for the highest mark, and we take your highest mark, and that will be added to your year mark. All right. So each of your 6 assessments, assessment 1 to 6, counts a mark towards your semester mark. But like I said, there's an opportunity for you to improve your mark with assessment 7. So I encourage all of you to complete assessment 7. It's actually a very nice assessment. You will learn a lot from it, and I'm going to go through it with you now. All right. So all of you know how to get onto the site and how to get into the assessments. If you get into the assessment is due on the 25th of October. We cannot grant any extensions on that. I will not be available for the next 2 weeks, so you'll have to contact my colleagues at Zunisani in Timbane. Their details are on the site, and Ms. Carol Monshaw, they will respond to you, all right? If you're not getting a response, I think all of us are quite busy at this time of the year, busy with lots of different things. You can contact our departmental secretary, Mrs. Martha Malefu. Her details are also on the website, the welcome page, right? So if you need anything, you can contact them. That's why I am trying to get as much information to you as possible. And because this is the last assessment, this will be our last class for the semester as well. All right. So let's get into the assessment. Like if you get into assessment 7, I give you the basic breakdown of the assessment mark allocation. As with all the written assessments, we follow the same structure, right? You have to have your technical presentation, need to have your self-assessment questions, and I just changed the questions slightly for each assessment. So don't copy and paste. Don't keep copying and pasting the answers from each one. Check your answers and check the question, all right? I don't know why these 2 students are not being admitted into the lobby. Babalba, Libala, and Lirato, Yolanda, Juena. It's just, Teams is just not allowing them in. I don't know why. Okay, but anyway, let's continue. So, like I said, what you need to do is you need to complete the overall technical presentation. We are having a real problem with students not adhering to that. So you're losing a lot of marks for that. For some of the assessments that counted 10% of your 10 marks, that's more than 10% of your mark for the assessment. And now it's 5 marks. Your self-reflection questions is 5 marks. And then we've got 2 questions, a business letter and a memorandum. Okay, so these are the questions that you need to complete. And we're having a real issue, and students don't understand what to do with the overall technical presentation. And I have made this very clear on how to do this and how to um, complete this successfully according to departmental guidelines. And I'll give you the video again where I show you how to complete the technical presentation. All right. Now, you know the assessment is a PDF. You need to download it. If you click on this, it will download it onto your computer, and then you need to open it with um, a PDF reader, all right? And there's the declaration of own work. I've put it in Word format, so it becomes easy for you to continue typing your assignment in there as well. Okay, so I'm sure this is fine for you. So I can open the assessment and we can go through the assessment now. Now, before I go through the assessment, I want to show you some of the important videos. All right, on this welcome page, right at the bottom, on the assessment page, right at the bottom, you'll see there's classes and videos. And also, if you click on read more, we have a whole list of the videos that I have here. Now, if you look under class 3, the 3rd class, you'll see I've got some videos here. I've mentioned this in every class, all right? So if you look at that, there's a lot of classes and a lot of videos here that will help you to format your writing. This one is this video lesson 2. It shows you how to reference, because a lot of you are struggling with that. It shows you about technical presentation, and it also shows you formal writing. So those of you struggling with the technical presentation, please go there. I show you exactly how to format your headings, your headers, um, the table of contents. I tell you a bit about the overall introduction and the overall conclusion. So all of that is really, really important for us, for you to do, and you're going to lose marks if you don't do that correctly, all right? So please have a look at that video. And then if you are looking for academic writing, now I have put in templates for everything. Look at video lesson 3 and video lesson 4. You will find templates for your essay. You will find information on how to do a mind map and all the other business documents, whether it's interview questions, the memorandum, the business letter. I have got templates there for you. So please, now for assessment 7, you need the template for the memorandum and for the business letter. So you need to get into these assessments, into these videos, have a look at them. I've even got slides there. There's associated slides with them. But remember, the slides don't have all the information that you need, because the videos, we discuss them even more, right? We discuss them even more clearly. So have a look at the videos as well, right? So very important, if you're looking for that, for the templates, have a look at that. It will become very easy for you to format your documents, okay? So if you're losing marks on your formatting and on your referencing and things, you need to go into these videos. Please, first thing, go today and go have a look at those videos, because I can see some students haven't. On a good note, with assessment 5, we've noticed that there's an improvement in the students' writing, which is very good, which shows that you are thinking about your work. You've actually looked at what you've been doing incorrectly and you've been trying to fix it. Some students says they're not able to see anything. Can anybody else, is anybody else having that issue? I think that everybody else can see the screen. It should be on your side. Please just check your settings on your side. Who is this? Mahaniele Machete. Otherwise, leave the meeting and come back in. It usually helps. I know there's something with Teams that does that. I don't know why. And it's still not allowing these two students in. I don't know why. I have admitted them so many times. It's just not admitting these students. But anyway, let me go on. So these are very, very important for you to go through. It will also help you to see what you've done incorrectly with your essay and your essay formatting and the formatting of your interview questions and your SOPs and that, because I've got a lot of guidelines there as well. All right, so very important for you to see that. Okay. Now let's get into the assessment. I'm going to discuss the assessment itself. I'm going to share my screen again. Just give me one moment to share my screen again. I want to share the assessment with you now. Okay, I hope the assessment is clear for you. Just give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Perfect. Okay, assessment 7. I've got you can see I follow the same format as all the assessments. You've got your unique number, the weighting of the assessment, the number of the assessment, all that is there. I've made one small mistake. I wrote that this is compulsory. It's actually optional, like I told you, but I would appreciate it if you submit assessment 7. Because like I told you, we only started marking assessment 6 and the results will only be out at the end of November. We can't, obviously, this 2,000 students, we can't finish marking 2,000 scripts before that. There's a lot of logistics and administration that also goes behind the scenes, all right? So please submit it and we'll take the highest mark from those two, okay? So I've already explained what's required there, what the assessment is about, all right? And with the declaration, I've made this clear to you before, and you all know that you have to include the declaration and you have to sign it. And remember, we even take typed signatures. You can even type your name in. But remember, what's disturbing for me is that you think that the declaration is just something that you add. This is actually an agreement and an acknowledgement from you, saying that you acknowledge what plagiarism is. All right, you acknowledge that it's not correct to plagiarize. We've received a few scripts where students have plagiarized. You've copied from the internet and you've copied from each other and you just copy and paste. You use AI tools to get your assessment out. Don't do that, students. There's a lot of important skills you're going to learn from here. And with all the classes we've given you, I'm sure you can do well. Just by following what we're telling you in the classes, you should do well. Okay, I believe in you. I always told you that. You need to believe in yourself. Don't give away your integrity by doing that, all right? We've seen that and many students have received 0 for that, and I don't want that for you, okay? So here's your declaration. I've given you the one in Word format as well. You can just type in your student number and the signature. You can type out your name if you're not sure how to do that, or how to include digital signature. But I think it's some skill that you need to gain. You need to be able to do that. And you can Google it, how to include a digital signature in a Word document, all right? Your witness can be anybody that's with you. I don't know why Teams doesn't want to allow the student in. No. Okay, anyway. Now, your technical presentation. Many students say, have sent me emails saying, you know what, I got marked down for the technical presentation, but you don't see what needs to be done. I've showed you the video. Have a look at that video and look at tutorial letter 301. Your headings, numbering have to be accurate. All these things have to be accurate. You'll see how I use my headings and numbering as well. Can you see this is the first level heading? All right. Can you see this is the first level heading? If you look at my study guide as well, you'll have a look at how I've got the first level headings in the table of contents and in the document itself and how they all match. So I've made that clear to you before. That's very important to have, all right? So your table of contents, we're giving you 2 marks for that. Your overall introduction. Now, that's different from an introduction for any of the other questions. Remember, this is a business writing course, so each document will be slightly different and they'll have their own requirements. But for the assignment as a whole, you need to actually have an overall introduction that introduces the subject of business communication, and it should introduce what you're doing. You should give an overview of what you're doing in the assignment. All right. So that is very, very important. I've even written this for you here. I've told you what you need to write, and it needs to be in a formal tone. So that's how you get your 1.5 marks. All right. The conclusion, it's an overall conclusion. So conclude, summarize what you've learned from what you've done in the assessment, but try and be in a formal tone. Say what was done in this assessment. I have provided some details for you on my UNISA under additional resources. You'll see how to write in a formal tone. It sounds difficult, but if you look at those examples, you'll see it's not so difficult, all right? So have a look at that and please include that because you don't want to lose the 5 marks. In some assessments, it counted 10 marks, so you lost 10 marks for nothing. Let's go to the business letter. I've given you this scenario. You'll see that we've used the scenario before. We've used it also in your multiple choice questions. It's a nice scenario. It covers a lot of communication skills there. That's why I like to use it because although it's short, there's a lot of communication things happening there. All right. So that's why I like to focus on it. This one talks of this apparel company that's got poor service. Now, remember, poor service can mean a lot of things. All right. It can mean a lot of things for the organizational context. For instance, there can be a problem with organizational culture. There can be an issue with uh, the organizational climate, the work ethic, or it could be staff morale. Lots of different things can happen. There can be lots of conflict issues going on, policy issues, multicultural, intercultural issues taking place. So a lot of things could be coming into play here. All right. So that's why I put this here so that you can try and condense all your communication knowledge in there. All right. This student's really struggling to come in. I don't know how to get her in now. Okay. So now, what do you have to do? Now, you need to write a business letter to the Commission for Conciliation, Mediation, and Arbitration. That's a CCMA, right? But now you need to read this very carefully. Who are you writing as? I'm going to pose this question to you. Who are you writing as? Are you writing as yourself or are you representing somebody according to the scenario? Somebody raise your hands. I'm not going to tell you that. I want you to tell me if you read this, who are you writing as? Yes, Slanguile, please, Slangiwe, please go ahead.
I'm writing as a representative, which is Mr. Ndisiwe Molefu.
Yes, it's Miss actually. Miss, it's not Mr. Yes, very good. Thank you. You see, and that's also something that students don't pay attention to. So you must read these things very, very carefully. Not sure why, I'm so worried about the student not coming in. Let me call it. Oh, she's in now. Okay, good. I'm glad she's in now. She must be trying from different devices, maybe. I hope she's in. Okay. So you must read carefully who we want you to represent. Okay, so that means you writing as that person. Now you take on their personality now, right? And you write from that perspective. So if this person, who is this person and why are they writing to you, to the CCMA? So you need to be very careful of that. So who is this person? This person is a representative of the junior staff at this graduate apparel company. Okay, so now that already gives you context and lets you think how you need to write. And From whose perspective are you writing? So from whose perspective are you writing? If this is a representative of junior staff, how are you writing this letter? I'm asking I want the floor open. You tell me, how are you writing this letter now? If you think about it, I'm representing all junior staff. How do I write this letter? Do I write my own personal opinions? I'm not going to answer this question for you. Yes. Mahaniele?
I think you're writing. I think I will have to write in second person because the representative is not representing themselves. So.
Okay, you're writing in the second person. Okay, fine. But now I want to know the style of writing and also the approach of writing. How are you going to approach this writing? If you're going to speaking, how are you going to approach the writing now? Because now you're not writing from one voice. Fortune Masier, I come back to you, Mahaniele. I want you to think about that. Fortune Masier, go ahead.
Okay, should I put it on a sentence?
Yes, you can if you want to, if it helps you.
Okay, as Miss Cindy C. Malefo, I'll just say I'm writing this letter on behalf of employees.
All the employees?
No.
Then who?
Junior employees.
Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, so that's a perspective. But now even your complaint, if you're going to write the complaint, how are you going to write it? Fortune, where was Mahaniele? Yes. Fortune, you can go ahead, and then Mahaniele, I'd like him to answer because I wanted him to think a bit. Yes. Go ahead, Fortune.
Okay, I'll again say this following the dispute with the employer, then I'll write the employer's name, and then I'll say regarding the implementation of the new late coming policy.
Very good. Excellent. Yeah. You see, now that's exactly what you must do in a business writing context. You see, in a business writing context, you have to be very formal. So Fortune has given you an example. So she's formal and she went straight to the point. She introduced herself. She introduced the position. She introduced the company. And she actually stated what the issue is and what the problem is. Can you see how important that is in business writing? You see, when you're writing for a friend or, a descriptive writing piece and that, you can go ahead and put a lot of different information and details, like what friends, you say, I hope you're doing well and how are you and what you're doing. But now a business letter is slightly different. Your tone is different. Your approach is different. All right. So that's what I'm trying to make you aware of. You need to know who is writing this letter. Are you representing someone or a group of people? All right. And what is the issue? So you need to get to that straight to the point in the first paragraph. I hope this is making sense to you, right? Because that's the problem I see. And sometimes what I see is that students just copy and paste what's happening in the scenario or from the instructions. Don't do that. Although you get your main information from here, but did you see how Fortune started thinking about it and wrote it differently? But she said the same things in a different way, and she was very focused. So that's what I want from you, all right? So be very, very focused. Think about it carefully. So writing is a thought process. Mahaniele, yes, I wanted you to respond to, did you have a chance to think about what I asked you?
I think I'll have to pass this one then for now.
You'll have to pass this. Why? What are you struggling with? I would like to help you.
I'm not struggling. I actually don't have a problem with letters. I actually wanted to know. Anyway, I wanted to ask questions. Anyway, it's fine. You can proceed. I'll ask later.
You sure? Are you getting your questions ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Because if I want students to tell me if you're struggling with something, so I can help you, so you can pass this well. Okay, so you don't have so much of stress. Okay, perfect. So now, what are we writing about? So this is what we already figured out why we are writing. We know who is writing. We know that this person is a representative, right? So this is the things that we are going to do, right? So we know that information, but now what specific things? We know the overall problem is a problem with the policy, okay? But there must be obviously some issues that are related to the problem. So we take the big problem and we break it down into smaller issues. What are the smaller issues that are at play here? So this is what we told you. So what you're going to write about, you're going to voice your concerns over the staff regarding the new policy. So you're going to voice your concern. So what is your concern about the policy? What is troubling about the policy? What are junior staff complaining about? How is it affecting their work life? Okay, so when you say you need to discuss that, you need to talk about what is bothering the staff. So your target market was your target audience is the junior staff, right? So they are the ones that are complaining. So you need to know who is the person speaking, all right, or the people speaking, and what are they complaining about. So when I talk about voice the concerns about the new policy, you need to actually highlight what is the new policy. Why is it bothering you? Why is it bothering you or them or the people, right? Outline the organizational culture regarding official work times. I've mentioned a little bit here, but now you need to think now carefully. What is the culture means the ongoing way of doing things in this company regarding the official work times? Because remember, the main grievance is about the official work times, right? If you read the scenario carefully, you need to please read the scenario carefully. The scenario gives you context. So don't just write from anything or anywhere. First, read the scenario carefully. Make notes here, highlight the points, because even in your PDF reader you have the highlighter. So highlight points and ask yourself, what is this? Then you can write. So don't just start writing, right? Just think carefully. So today, go home, think carefully, write this notes, and then tomorrow start writing your work. Okay, I hope this makes sense to you. And see, and then I even tell you, provide 2 feasible suggestions for resolving the conflict. So basically, when you're writing to the CCMA, you're not just going to be, why did the recording stop? Oh, it's still recording, okay. So you're not just going to be complaining, you're going to be voicing what your concern is, what your complaint is about, and you're going to break down that complaint into little issues, like see, I told you about the organizational culture, what's happening, how things happen. There's a few things here, right, that are adding up to their complaints. And also, you're going to give some suggestions. How do you think you can solve this issue? How do you want to see this issue being resolved? Okay, so you need to provide those, because I'm going to give you marks for that, because you see, the thing is, it's not to penalize you for no reason or whatever. It's to make you think, because in the workplace, these are things that you're going to be facing. You'll have to think about these issues. When you're writing a business letter, it has to be very focused. You can't just complain about something and not provide a possible solution or suggestion of how you would like the problem solved. And from there, that opposite party can say, okay, you've given these suggestions, but these are my suggestions. Let's work on that. Can you understand what I'm saying now? All right. So that's how things work. And now I've given you additional instructions here. I tell you, your writing must be assertive, not aggressive. Now, I'm opening the floor to you, because remember, I had a class with you and I spoke to you about being assertive and being aggressive and being passive. So when I say be assertive, not aggressive, what am I saying? Please raise your hands. Don't be afraid, please. I'd like your views. Fortune, go ahead.
Okay, when I'm assertive, I'll be speaking on behalf of other people's rights in a calm and possible manner. And aggressive is when maybe I'm swearing.
Okay, that's like extreme aggression. Aggression is not only swearing. There's other ways of being aggressive as well. So basically, it doesn't mean you must be passive and not give your words and say, well, no, whatever you do is fine. As long as you deal with the problem, that's being passive. But being assertive, you're being calm, but still you are voicing your concern. You voice your concern. You say, no, we are unhappy about this because this. Can you see that? But now if you're going to be aggressive, okay, I'm going to give somebody else a chance to tell me more about aggression, Fortune. Behind Yele, you had your hand up?
Yes,
No.
I was.
Okay, yes. Tell me, what do you think about aggression? Besides swearing, how else can you be aggressive in your tone?
By not being what do you call polite in your address.
And give me an
Yeah.
example. Yes, not being polite, but being aggressive. What does it mean in your writing? How do you show aggression in your writing?
By perhaps calling people stupid, things like those.
Okay, that's one thing. There's other ways. Okay, I'll give you guys some examples. FN Mgwabe, please go ahead. Tell me, how can you show aggression in your writing?
By also putting in names and saying, and basically also speaking on the first person instead of the second or the third person at times. But I'm not putting it on the third person.
Okay, that can sometimes show some aggression. Sometimes it can show informality also, not just aggression sometimes when you're being too informal. Okay, but I'm still looking for something more, so I'm going to open the floor some more, and then I will give you one or two examples. Team of 40.
Thank you. I think in writing, I can put it writing in capital letters and putting them in bold.
Okay, that also shows aggression. Okay, good. There was another student that had their hand up. Team of 40. Go ahead. There's one more student. Yes, go ahead. Okay.
I spoke now. Sorry, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. I'm going to give you one or two examples of aggression as well. All those were good examples of aggression, but sometimes what else can show as aggression is that I want you to do this. You are like, forcing it on a person. I want the situation to be solved today. I want you to fire this person. Can you see what I'm saying? You're being aggressive. That's not the way to deal with an issue. You can't just go and voice a grievance and immediately want somebody fired. There has to be an investigation. There has to be some processes to be followed. Lots of things that need to take place. All right. So you need to think very carefully and how you're writing and say, no, the CCMA is a useless body. It never resolves my conflict. Or you can say, no, or that's aggression now. Can you see what I'm saying? How aggression can show in your writing as well. Or you can say, this organization, what's this, Mukush, Graduate Apparel, is always providing bad service to UNISA, and UNISA is not going to employ us, going to contract us anymore. This means that we'll all lose our jobs. Can you see you being so aggressive? You can say a lot of these things, you can voice a lot of your grievances assertively, not aggressively. Now, see how aggressive I was now. Now see if I can be assertive. Fortune gave us a very nice example of how to be assertive. Now, I'll give you also a way of being assertive and say, I am so-and-so from so-and-so company, and I represent the junior staff here, and junior staff are disgruntled about this issue. Because this issue does this, it causes this with service delivery. I'm not giving you all the writings, right? I'm just giving you an example. And these are the issues that can crop up, or these are the issues cropping up because of this. Okay, don't use the word cropping. It's very informal. Use a formal word rather. These are the issues that are being apparent because of these of this organizational culture. And now you talk of an organizational culture, you need to tell us what's that organizational culture. So whenever you introduce something, you need to tell us about it. You say, no, there's this policy. So you need to tell us what policy and what is the policy about and what you are disgruntled about, right? So can you see the difference? I hope that makes sense. Tell me if that makes sense to you, then I can move forward. Is that okay? Do you have any questions? Okay, perfect. So I've only seen one thumbs up. I don't know about the other students. Are you good? You Tumelo, you have a question? No, or you're just saying that you're fine? Okay, perfect. All right. I hope that that makes sense to you. And like I told you, you must know who's writing, to whom you're writing, who you're representing, what your grievance is, and you must start that immediately in the first paragraph, right? What your grievance is. And then when you're moving forward at your next paragraph, you need to actually tell us, break down the policy. What are your grievances about? And then you break down the problem. Okay? There's a few problems that could be highlighted there. You have a problem with the policy because, see, I spoke about organizational culture, right? Regarding official times and how that might affect work output, how that affects worker morale, how that affects the climate of the organization. So all that is important. And when you provide two feasible solutions, remember, you need to think of process and procedure and see how you want to deal with it, right? So don't be passive or aggressive. We must be assertive, right? I've given you the addresses as follows. All right, these are your addresses. So you will use them. You will go into that video. I've shown you all the different formats of letters, and I've given you instructions to use the UK block format. And my video, the one I've showed you at the beginning of the class, shows you exactly how to format a letter in the UK block format. I even show you how to format it in the US block format, but now we are using the UK block format. So see how to do that, and you need to format it correctly because you get a lot of marks for that, all right? So you will see your formatting, there's marks, your salutation, complimentary crow, signature, and name. Now, when you have a letter, remember you've got your UK block format, you have your addresses, you have to have your subject line, you have to have your salutation, how your salutation needs to be formatted. That's all put into my video with the templates. It's even in your online resource on formatting, right? But if you look at my video, I give you the way that we format it in the department, right? Our online resource gives you a lot of information and gives you generic information, and then the specific information comes into the video. So look at your online resource and my video that I showed you, right? Very important. And then when you're ending a letter, you need to end the letter carefully. Remember, your last paragraph should close with all your suggestions. Then you need to have a closing. How do you close a letter? You need to say, looking forward to your resolution, or something like that, or please tell me how to move forward with the situation. Who do I contact? How do I move forward? Something like that. You need to think, how are you going to close? And remember who you're speaking to. You're speaking to the CCMA now. Remember, now it's becoming quite legal, right? So you need to think how you're going to close it. Okay. So those are very, very important things that you need to think of. You need to even sign it off carefully. If you look at my video I've shown you before on formatting, it shows you all of those things on how to do those things carefully, right? Also look at your online resource. So you get marks for all of that. And I've explained the introductory paragraph, explained the body, all these things that you need to do. You're getting marks for all of that. Your concluding remarks, you're getting marks for all of that. Now, if you're giving me funny formatting, if you're formatting, we're going to minus marks from you, all right? If there's a lot of plagiarism and you're not paraphrasing, we're going to minus marks. And we're seeing a lot of copying, and that please don't copy and paste from the internet and from each other, and that we pick it up, okay? A lot of students have got 0 for that. Okay, so we go to the next one, which is the memorandum. Okay, Mr. Intibane did this in his class when he was doing the class on formatting. He even told you that a memorandum is an official business document, especially for internal communication. All right. So you must remember, when you are in a business, that's why we teach you this course. You need to be very professional in the way you write and the way you communicate, not just writing, speaking, interacting, even understanding what's going on, and conflict management. Otherwise, it affects the entire organization. We see that happening. I know I've been doing a lot of research in municipalities in South Africa. And I'm sure all of us, we are all South Africans, and we're all struggling with the municipal service delivery in South Africa, right? It's a huge problem. And a problem comes also from corruption and all these things. But a huge problem is also communication and how you communicate with staff inside. A lot of staff don't know what they need to do, how they need to do it, what needs to be done. If you look at how the roads are being fixed, for instance, we see potholes everywhere. Sometimes they fix it today, tomorrow it's back again. Sometimes a pothole is there for 6 months and it's not solved. Why is that happening? There's a lack of internal communication. Right? So no, people are not communicating with each other carefully. Who does what when? People are not overseeing